Are you looking for a job that can lead to a career opportunity? MCC and OPS have teamed up to provide education training and job opportunities. We're looking for people that want to learn and work at the same time. We have open enrollment for training in the field of construction and job placement. For more information, contact us at 317-991-3150 or email info@mccindiana.org. Again, that phone number is 317-991-3150 or email info@mccindiana.org. Are you looking for a job that can lead to a career opportunity? MCC and OPS have teamed up to provide education training and job opportunities. We're looking for people that want to learn and work at the same time. We have open enrollment for training in the field of construction and job placement. For more information, contact us at 317-991-3150 or email info@mccindiana.org. Again, that phone number is 317-991-3150 or email info@mccindiana.org.
Black people need to own our own businesses, which will provide an economic base. Teach our youth to become self-sufficient. Learn how to maximize our political affiliations and fight for criminal justice reform. You just tuned in to Black Power Presents with your host, Antonio Lipscomb. Come on, let's talk.
All right. Welcome, my Facebook family and YouTube viewers. I'm your host, Antonio Lipscomb, with Black Power Presents. We have an exciting show today, a show that will definitely challenge us. And I'm hoping that this show will help move us in the right direction when it comes to being tried before even going before a jury. A lot of times, we're guilty before we even get a chance to give our side. And so we're going to have Elijah Mills, which is one of our star employees that's with us, working for us, that's done an outstanding job. I can testify with the time that I've known him to be nothing but an outstanding young man. And we discovered that he's going through some challenges through the legal system. There was a particular charge that was placed upon him. That, of course, I think that with having the media do their job, I think we also need to figure out, okay, how can we talk about this in a way that all sides are involved? A lot of times before a person can even say what's going on with them, you have the mug of the victim or the mug of the accuser out there. And of course, with public opinion, with not being able to have any level of a platform, a lot of times we automatically accuse people even before we give them a shot and a chance. So before we actually bring him on, we're going to show a clip, and hopefully this clip will be very clear. And as you all know, we do have a radio listening audience that's going to come into this show. And so we're actually working with the producers behind the scenes to bring them in. So even if you're not watching on Facebook, YouTube, you can go to your YouTube right now. Matter of fact, I need somebody to go to YouTube and watch. I haven't had one person go on Black Power Present and watch. Listen, if you go on YouTube and you can show us that you were there, we're sending out some gift cards. We're going to send out some gas cards. We need somebody to watch from this YouTube page. I'm trying to look at our YouTube page as we speak, and I'm trying to see how I can I bring this up, Reverend? Can I see that are we streaming live up here? It should be a streaming live opportunity here for us that I'm not picking up on my computer here. Hopefully it's up for others. Matter of fact, I'm looking at my cell phone and I can actually see that YouTube is actually saying that we are streaming live right now. So hopefully everything is just going good for us. Yeah, streaming live there. So go to our YouTube page and it'll be Black Power Presents, and you can definitely see what's going on. We got some commercials going on right now with 1310 The Light. We also are on 92.7. So if you like to call in, you will just simply dial 317 239-1310, and we'll be able to let anybody that wants to call in and have any comments. You can do so at that time. We got a producer that we're working with. Yes, sir, Mr. Producer. What's going on?
All right, we got you want to play your or you want to play your commercial at the end, right?
Yeah, you can play it at the end, and we're ready to go. We're ready to go when you're ready to go.
All right, I'm finishing up these last couple of commercials real quick. We'll get started in about 3 minutes.
About 3 minutes. Okay. While we're waiting on that process, I want to show you. I'm gonna try to go ahead and show you a video of what we're talking about, and go from there. Let me go here to this video. I believe it's this one right here. Let me share this video here. Believe we're gonna go to this video right here.
And faith for her 4-year-old son fighting for his life.
Leave it up to God type person. So everything that has came to me, I tried my best to fully give it to him. And I know that he's on pull out.
Brittany said she only gets supervised visitation with her son and that he lived full time with his father. He was with his dad at this Noblesville apartment when police responded to a call of a possible cardiac arrest.
He had basically it to where you see the army.
Police arrested the boy's father, Elijah Mills, and his girlfriend, Taylor Abrams. They both face neglect of a dependent charges. Court documents say doctors at Raleigh Hospital found the child's injuries highly suspicious for inflicted, non-accidental trauma.
He had fractures on his arm, leg, and his ribs, and then he had a spot on his brain that was already there. I was trying to heal too.
The couple is in a Hamilton County jail tonight. Court documents claim Mills told police his son had headaches and hit his head a week before the incident.
It sounded like the kid was being thrown at the walls and slammed on the ground, and pretty much take a chair or something and throw it at a wall. And that's pretty much what it sounded like.
Austin Merle says he lives in the apartment below Mills and Abrams. Police reports show officers visited the couple's place very recently, once in August and another time in October, after DCS reported possible child neglect resulting in injury.
It hurts. Yes, I was in that situation as a kid. You know, as a kid, you're afraid to say anybody.
Police say Mills told officers he is in the medical profession and was able to know when it's necessary to get his son medical help.
It's just what he started. That's all I can say.
In Noblesville, I'm Henry P. Fox 59 News. Maui, Auckland.
So our story is a lot like my journey.
All right, so Facebook family and friends and those who are watching on YouTube, of course, this was a painful event. We're getting ready to come on the radio and we're going to be furthering our conversation. You ready for me?
Yep.
30 seconds on the last commercial. Okay, so we're going to be talking about this incident that happened. I believe it was over in Noblesville, and we're going to bring Elijah Mills. He's going to be our guest today. That he'll have a chance to share his heart, and I know that we need for that to happen, for that to take place. Absolutely. So we're going to cue our radio listening audience in within the next 30 seconds. So just bear with us and we'll have our radio listening audience on, and then we can go from there. Hopefully when we played that video that it went through clearly and that you guys were able to hear what the allegations was. I believe it was a catastrophic injury to a minor, and also a physical battery.
Here we go. I'll count you down.
All right. You want to be a part? 317-239-1310 to call in. 317-239-1310.
Play the disclaimer right now.
Okay.
1 second.
and they're giving us an introduction on the radio, and we should be up shortly.
So the answer right now.
Okay. So we got an exciting show. Just hang in there with us, and we'll move forward. And while we're waiting,
All right, about to count you down.
okay, you're counting me down. All right.
All right, and 3, 2, 1, you're live.
All right, Antonio Lipscomb. I am your host for Black Power Presents. I'm bringing in my radio listening audience. As you know, we come on every week at the beginning of the week on Sunday from 6 to 7 on your radio broadcast. And like I was explaining to my YouTube viewers as well as my Facebook viewers, we have an emotional show today with Elijah Mills. He's a current employee of ours. Outstanding worker, has a very high character. He does what he says when it's time for us to get anything done. He's somebody that I respect and rely on, and just got wind of some knowledge of understanding that he is fighting for his life with a case that's in Noblesville, catastrophic injury to his son, which really kind of breaks his heart and breaks our heart to know that his son was injured and hurt. And due to that injury, and they have given Elijah a felony, number 1 felony, and then for body injury, they're giving a level 3 felony. And he's been fighting this for about a year. And so we're going to bring him on to our show. Earlier, we had a clip that was played that the news ran back in November. And of course, when they run these news clips, you see the person, with a mug shot there in fatigues and looking like, they're guilty. And a lot of times in this country, we are guilty before proven innocent. And so I'm going to bring Elijah onto the show right now. And if you want to be a part of the show, feel free to call in 317-239-1310. It's 317-239-1310. You can call in and we'll get your calls. If we can get to your calls, we'll make sure you're able to be included. Hey, Elijah, how's it going, young man?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing today?
Oh man, you looking fabulous, man. You look like you in good spirits, man. And I know most oftentimes when we go through things like this, man, it seems like most people spirits is broken. They go into deep depression. They sometimes use some type of substance abuse to try to cope with the pain and the struggle. Here it is. You love your son. You had your son with you, custody of your son. I think at the time when you were talking to me about it, you were actually engaged to be married. And lo and behold, your son hurts himself, and you're able, from working in the medical profession, you were able to revive him and thinking that you can get him medical support, only to your discovery, it seems as though they use that primarily against you to try to build a case against you. And I just want you to come on the show to primarily just speak on your behalf, to give you a platform so that you can express yourself. So go ahead, Elijah, share your heart, brother.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank you, Antonio, for giving me a chance to be on your show. You're right, man. It's a tough situation. It's a very sensitive situation because Liam means so much to me and so much to my family. And we've just been in a constant battle since last November to even be able to see him. As Antonio said, I was at full custody of him, legal and physical custody, which is, if any man knows, is not an easy task, especially not in Indiana, and I did it without a lawyer. And Antonio also said that I'm usually in good spirits, and I try my best to be because I know who God is. And days are hard, but He is still who He is. But yeah, and the biggest battle I'm fighting right now is that in a system where you have no chance, where they give you a public defender because you don't have enough to afford one. So then you sit in jail for 9 months before you even proven guilty of any kind of crime. And then you get your face put all over every place you can see it because they want you to think that this is who you are. And it was never who I was. Like I appreciate you allowing me to come on the show because it to show that was never who I was to begin with.
Well, yeah, I mean, do me a favor, Elijah. Tell us about your son, man. I mean, just explain to us about, who he is and what he, tell us about him.
Amazing. He was, he's my heart. He's my life. He's a bundle of joy. He's so smart, so energetic. He'll light up a room.
Well, I can actually see the pain in your heart, man. And this is the first time I've actually seen you respond this way. But I know that it's hard, man. And the reason why I thought we should go public with this is because a lot of times what happens is if you ignore it and you don't deal with it and try to fight, and have somebody that can walk you through this, then a lot of times what happens is you never get a chance to be able to tell your side. And a lot of times people will just believe whatever, and not even give you an opportunity, to express your heart. And so I think that revisiting this is going to be good for you, brother, especially through the healing process, because if you never deal with it, then, it'll come up in an explosion at some point in time. So you want to take these steps of healing so that you can move forward, right?
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about that day, man. I mean, just give us a recap of what you believe happened in your own words.
That day, it's so hard because I relive it like all the time. But Liam was just walking down the hall, and he said that his head hurt, but then he just fell backwards. And then I pick him up, and then he's kind of just like, I have him kind of walk over to me a little more, and he's fine. But he said his head hurts, and then he went and got dressed, and he came back, and he just fell, like face down, unresponsive. And I went over to him and started giving him CPR, and I asked my fiance at the time to call 911. But he was fine. And he was Liam. Just a little bundle of love. He was Liam. He just walked up and said he had a headache. And we were actually about to go take him to be seen because he had been having headaches. So we're actually about to take him to the doctor or to the med tech to be seen right before all this happened, right before he fell.
Right. So, I mean, I guess the accusations are, okay, well, this happened before and somebody called DCFS before and this was an ongoing problem. And, the kid sound like he was in an abusive situation on an ongoing basis and stuff like that. I mean, how do you respond to something like that?
It's all just accusations, which honestly, I didn't even hear any of it until I was incarcerated. I heard that the guy downstairs made a report to a police officer that said that my son had sounded like he was being beat and thrown against the wall. And that same day, at that same time, the police officer actually came to the house, to the apartment, and seen Liam and didn't report anything. He was just fine.
Right. Right. Did the officer check for any kind of injuries or anything on him to try to make sure, you know, he actually kind of done a visual inspection on him just to make sure things were safe for him. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir, he did.
Okay. And so when we looked at the clip on the news, the mother was there, and they said that she gets supervised visits, but she seemed like she was very caring and involved. Do you want to kind of elaborate on that? I mean, was she kind of involved in that sort of thing, or what's the case with that?
Honestly, Antonio, I wish she was involved. We tried, and I'm not going to lie. At a point in time when I saw that my son was being hurt so much by her absence, I pushed her away. When I seen that my son was being hurt with her just popping in and out when she felt like it, and he was an option to her at best and not a priority, I did push her away. And I should have been the bigger man and just kept trying to push it and make it work, but I just seen the pain in him all the time. And she never realized because she never noticed it. But on the news, it is depicted that she is this person that's always in his life. But the reason that she had supervised visits was because he wasn't a priority to her. When she wanted to talk to him, when she wanted to see him, it was all up to her. She had every other weekend for 3 hours is what she was allotted from the judge. And she was still missing those. You have 6 hours a month to see your son, and you miss those because you don't have gas, or because you have a headache, or because whatever the case may be. But you were still his mom, and he still looked forward to those times. But that wasn't what was depicted on the clip, of course.
So you actually had the responsibility of raising your son more or less like a single dad, but looking to go into a marital relationship, but not quite there. So you're a single dad taking care of your son, and all of a sudden he gets a headache, some type of injury takes place. And what I want to say to that, I want to say this. I have a 6-year-old son that's autistic, right? He struggles with autism. And I love my son. I mean, I try to keep up with my son as much as I can, but my son is quick. He's kind of very independent, and in any given moment, he can get away from me. And there were times that, I'm willfully admitting that he got away from me so quick. One time I'm paying the waitress or the waiter, and as I'm paying the waiter and concentrating on the waiter, he goes out of the door. And so, it was about a good 30 seconds. But we were at a fancy restaurant, had water, big water lake that was behind the restaurant and whatnot. And he could have easily got hurt. And it was based on whether he jumped in that water or not. Everything just happened that quick.
Yeah.
And there's been other times that just so happened, God had his hand on him to where, he didn't get hurt. You know what I mean? But at the same time, as a parent, man, you have some close calls that take place, and this could have, in my opinion, I think this could possibly happen to anybody. You can't avoid an injury. Now, if somebody's willfully, afflicting someone, that's a totally different story.
Yes,
but if your son fell and whatnot, and you try to get him medical attention and everything, I don't see warranting a level 1 felony in which that level 1 felony is equivalent to like a murder, charge. So, do you think, being as far as the proximity of where this happened over in Noblesville, do you think, far as the charges that was put on you, that kind of reflects the location of where you were at the time? And I know that your son is biracial, right?
Yes, he is.
And then you were dating, someone who was white and whatnot. I mean, I don't know if that plays a role or not, but do you think probably because of the proximity of where you at that could have possibly also played a role in how things were laid out?
Yes, 100%. And it's hard for me to say that because I was at first one of the people who are always an advocate of we're all the same. And because with everything in me, I want it and we should all be the same. So I find no issue with dating I guess what you would call a white woman, because we're all the same to me. But when you look at society, you have to be a realist, and you can't be such an optimist and think that this is the way things are because this is the way things are, the way that you want things to be. That's not where we live right now. So I actually moved my family to Noblesville, where I was working at the MedCheck. And so I was making pretty good money. We moved up there, getting my son a better life, get him out of the struggle you would think of the Indianapolis was my mindset, because to me, we're all the same. But no, look around right now. It's
right.
We're not all the same.
Right. So let me ask you this. Do you feel comfortable taking callers?
Taking what, I'm sorry?
Taking a caller. Someone's calling in. Do you feel comfortable with taking a call? I know this is a very sensitive situation. Do you feel comfortable taking a call?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we got Larry on line 1. Go ahead, Larry.
How you doing, Antonio? You know what his problem is? He could understand that once a woman finds out she can't control you, she'll just try to destroy you and your offspring both together. So he fell into the trap that she set for him. He should have left her alone, left the baby alone and everything. If the boy gets 18, he can come and be with his father if he wants to. But when we dive into stuff like that and buy into all the trying to get back together and all that stuff like that, all we do is set ourselves up to be just in the position we've been in now, especially in Noblesville, where they're going to really ram it in you. So you need to leave with other men out there. When you get a woman and you can't stay with her, and she wants to be controlling, you need to leave her completely alone, for her kids and everything, because when you end up in a situation like he's in, you're not going to be able to do anything for your kids anyway. So, hey, if a woman don't want you, let them go. If they want to take the kids, let them take them. Just pay your child support and go on with your life. That's the best advice I got, and you'll stay out of trouble. I know that's what I done when I was married. When I found out I couldn't get along, that's been 40-some years ago. I did not go back, and I said, hey, take everything you want, go on about your business, and you can make it over again. But you can't do it when you let buy into some woman that you don't want you, and you trying to keep on getting back with it. It's not going to work out. You need to leave the whole thing alone.
Okay, well, thank you, Larry.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, because were you in a relationship with her and it went bad? And of course, you guys were in a relationship at one point in time, right?
Yeah,
and then things went separate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why would you be the better parent? Because generally, when there's a separation, generally the woman gets the child, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there must be something there. Can you go ahead and explain what's going on with that?
Yeah, it's good. And he was totally misinterpreted what I said. I had my son and I was worried only about my son. That's the reason I had my son. And that's the reason I said that I could have tried harder to further their relationship, not ours. It had nothing to do with me and her relationship. But I guess that's where, maybe his relationship was, and I apologize for that, but that wasn't the case with mine. Um, she was, she has, I believe she has 5 kids now. At that time, she had, my son was her 3rd child. And Liam just never got the attention the other children got. And I think mostly because just all things being equal, just on the truth with everything, that she wanted to be with the other kid's father. And it just wasn't a safe situation for Liam, because that guy that she was trying to be with was actually hitting on her and the other kids. And so I fought in court to get Liam out of that situation. At first, we got joint custody. We had 50-50. We got him 1 week, and then he went back to her house the next week. And at first, we were allotted once a week to go see him. The lady at the garden allowed him to put on the papers that it could be on Wednesday if we couldn't figure out another day. And every chance that I got when Liam was at her house, I went over there. Every single chance. And this went on for, I don't know, probably about 6 months. And she, I think, maybe came over to the house not even 5 times to see Liam. And then she even told the guardian ad litem, when she asked her if she came to see Liam, she just said no. He wasn't a big deal to her. So
Okay.
Seeing and just seeing the pain
so
with him, and understanding that. Oh, just understanding that and Liam had a great mother figure, and Taylor for him was a great mother figure. So I can't take anything away from what she did with him. So I can't say that I was a single father and I was doing it all on my own, because that would be totally downplaying and just a flat out lie. But as for his mom, he called his mom Brittany. He didn't. I didn't actually. She told him one day that I'm your mom, but I'm not really your mom, because she didn't have a relationship with Liam as his mom.
Wow. So I guess the news, they kind of depicted that both you guys were like evil people. You know what I mean? Like you was evil one and she was evil two, and your son was just being neglected. And can you tell us about how you was approached? Because you said you did 9 months for this, right? Tell us about those 9 months that you did when you was incarcerated.
First of all, if anyone's ever been incarcerated, I apologize sincerely, because it's being incarcerated is not for anybody. Your rights are stripped as soon as you walk through the doors. You're found guilty to them. There is no innocent until proven guilty block, in case anyone doesn't know. You don't go in and you're placed in somewhere where you get to go on like Walmart trips, or get to go to stuff that you want to do. You're in jail. You eat what they tell you to eat when they tell you to eat it. You're treated. You're already guilty. When you go to court, they shackle you. Head to toe. Your hands are shackled to your feet. You're treated. You're already guilty. And there's people in the jail that are actually guilty. They've already been proven guilty. But when you're in jail for 9 months but haven't been proven guilty of anything, that's a hard pill to swallow. And it's because you don't have the money enough to pay for proper representation. So they give you a public defender that just leaves you in jail. And
wow.
It's rough, because you're around these people who, and when you're in jail, everybody's a judge, jury, and executioner. Just look at what happened in Marion County. He wasn't even found guilty of it. But because he was in jail on those charges, they feel like he's already guilty of that charge. And that's how you're treated in jail.
Right. So what I'm going to do, I got another caller that's going to call in. Want to have a comment? Are you okay with that?
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Okay, go ahead, caller. Hello, go ahead, caller. You're on Black Power Presents. Please go ahead with your comment.
going on a year. And with broken bones. First guy, the one I got broken bones. And then they can get up overnight, one night, the second thing back, broken bones, and broken fracture is, broken arm, and broken rib. And so the detective stepped in, and the case is still pending, and it's under criminal. But they're trying to take the kids back to the house, pushing it. And the judge, I don't understand it. With an open case, how you gonna take the kids back and mom and dad live in the house? This is where it was one kid, the one I had. He just went overnight, and they don't know that. They don't know what happened to the kids.
Wow. Well, caller, for some reason, I would like for our producer to try to make your voice louder so that we can hear you, because I can barely hear you on this side. But what I'm thinking what you're talking about is there's abuse case that's going on, or some type of case is going on with you, and is it your grandson or something like that, a granddaughter?
My granddaughter. So I got my great-great-grandson. Other great-grandson, he's the baby, he's 3 months. And I got one, the other been false on. So he underneath the belt both kids. But it's a group, and they got an open case, a business case for criminal. But DCLM, they're trying to put the kids back, and they got an open case. They trying to move forward. We're afraid. And I'm like, look, this don't make no sense. But I'm just praying to God, going to pray with me. So they still don't know what happened to the 2 kids. That number 2 pieces in the house for mom and dad.
Right.
So what you mean? These broken bones, if y'all take these kids back and with an open case, ain't that for them? I'm not, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let's get back to broken bones, yeah. And these babies.
Right.
These just accusations, as these accusations. And the doctors want to took them and put them on a child of prison today, and you're going to place them back in the house like that. They got them supervision already.
Okay. Okay. So what I would recommend for you to do is see how maybe you can talk to an attorney. I know Robert Turner is my attorney, and if you leave your information with our producer, we will get back to you. I know I have a pastor, Dr. Lionel T. Rush, that also works with helping fight, for those that are victims, as well as those that are accused of being the perpetrator. And so I guess the show is primarily focusing on, those that are accused of things that they have not done. And also at the same time, advocating for children, because obviously this is not the case here. We believe that the father injured the son. I think that makes good news, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the case when it comes to this situation. But however, I know there are parents out there that abuse their children and so forth. And of course, we just got to work with each case and see what we can do and go from there. But I want to share a clip. Before I share this clip, Elijah, I want you to tell us about, you said 9 months. You talked about the 9 months, right, of being locked up, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's extraordinary the fact that you kept your sanity, because here you are as a concerned, responsible parent. Do you have a criminal background?
No, not at all. I was arrested once for driving while suspended.
So
and I
pretty
spent
much,
less than like 6 hours in jail.
So pretty much, your background is not knowing really too much about the criminal justice system and being caught up in that world, that crime world or whatnot. You're not that type of dude, right?
No, I used to always make a joke and say, they don't even know I exist. I used to always make that joke.
Yeah, because you don't have that type of background. And I say that, working with you the way I've been working with you, I just don't see you having a violent bone in your body. You know what I mean? Like, you very mature and respectful and considerate, and you know, you just an all around type nice guy that I would depict. If I would say nice guy, your picture would be next to it. So to line up what they got against you, it just don't fit your character. But I want to ask you this before I play this clip, because you were locked up. Your bond, what was your bond?
When I first went to jail, it was at 50,000. No, it was 60,000. I apologize. And then they raised it to 260,000.
Why'd they raise it?
Because they put another charge for invasion of privacy. Because my dad, I call my dad like I did every other day, and he happened to be at the hospital with my son. And my dad, as long as I've known him, has answered his phone on speakerphone. He's not going to change it now. This is who he is. But so he answered the phone, and he said he was at the hospital with my son, and I told my son that I loved him, and they said that I was invading his privacy. And they put on from 60,000, they added $200,000 more on for my bond.
Because you told your child you loved him.
And the judge actually said in court, if I was just listening to this phone call, I would think that all I could hear is a dad that's concerned about his son. He said, but because of your charges, not because you've been found guilty, not because you're anything, not because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're guilty, but because you have these charges, I'm going to add another 200,000. Not because I know your character and I know who you are, but because I see who they put you as on the TV and on paper. But let me add another 200,000 to your bond. And yeah.
Well, I think that's the judicial system that we live in. They tend to want to get those felonies on us, and if anybody doesn't like that, you just look at historical facts. You'll see that the way that we have been charged. Let me say this to you: 1 out of 3 black men are locked up versus 1 out of 17 white men. So that with no understanding that the white European has way more numbers. So black males make up about 8% of America's population. Yet we represent 40.2% of the criminal justice system. So you can still see how the law is being weaponized against black males. Tell me about this plea thing, because we were talking, and of course there's another party involved, another white female involved that you was with, right? Mm-hmm. And tell me about the plea situation.
Well, they offered me. Actually, let me even before they. My lawyer told me he brought me a plea when I was in jail, and told me that they offered me 30 years due 25, and he told me that it was probably a good deal. That I was looking at doing 45 years, and he said I can ask for a continuance to get a medical professional, and this was way back in, I believe it was in March. It was March, or maybe even in February, but he told me that he was going to try to get funds for medical professional and that it could take some time. And I said, well, what are you talking about? Like a couple of days? And I was fresh in jail. I was like, I'm just trying to get out of here. Like, how much time are you talking about? He said, you're looking at doing 60 years in jail, or 6 years in prison. So you need to, you're talking about something short time. I'm talking about you being in prison for a long time. I said, you just told me they brought me a plea for 25 years, 30 to 25 years. Where did you just get 60 years from? So that was my first plea. That was my only official plea. And then I told him then, I said, I'm not going to take a plea. I'm not guilty. I'm not pleading out to anything. Because taking a plea literally means I plead that I'm guilty to these charges. And I'm not going to plead that I'm guilty to these charges because I'm not guilty of these charges. But they have this scare tactic that they try to use. And Hamilton County is notorious for it. So making you sign, or getting you to sign a plea, because they get you to think, or it's like you're scared. And you don't have a chance. That they try to have this idea to try to get you to think that all the They have all this evidence against you and all these objects against you. So take this plea deal, or it's going to be so much worse for you.
But let me ask you this question. For the young lady that you was with, right? Even though this got to be something that's hurting her as well. Regardless to what color she is, of course she was a white female, but that's neither here nor there. Just to be charged. Was she charged? She was charged what you was charged, right?
She was charged
the felony
with,
one?
Yes, a F1 felony and an F3 felony, yes.
Okay. And did she receive some type of plea as well?
The only plea that I know of her getting was one that said that she can do 4 years community corrections, which would be house arrest or work release, and then 5 years probation.
So let me get this straight. No one really knows who injured your son or how your son was injured, right?
Correct.
They arrest 2 people, you and your fiance, right? And they come to you with a plea of how many years? 60 years?
30 years, do 25 was the plea.
Okay, so do 25 years in prison for this. Okay, but then they went to her and they said with the same charges and said that she can get a plea for 4-year community corrections or house arrest. Why? Can you explain like why? Being that you guys got charged the same thing and they don't know what happened and who did the whatever, or how the accident happened, occurred, or whatever. Can you explain why that she got such a would get such a what that difference is so substantial as to why you would get that and she would get this?
Well, they asked her. They said, if you are willing to cooperate with us, we'll give you this plea. If you're willing to say that, come up here and testify and say what I want you to say, I'll give you this plea.
Wow. So let me share something. I got a video that I want to try to share about these plea deals. It's only about a 2-minute video. But I want to share this video just for our listening audience to see how this judicial system works, with these pleas. So let me pull this up. I'm gonna play this clip real quick.
Imagine you're a public defender with a client accused of a serious felony. Your conversation almost always begins in jail. In the visitation room, you begin preparing him for the most important decision he has ever made. And he'll have to make that decision while sitting in a cage. The prosecution has offered a plea bargain. It expires soon. If he accepts the guilty, he'll get out of jail sooner than if he goes to trial. Before the plea offer expires, your investigator tries to identify and interview the prosecution's witnesses. Are they unreliable? Making faulty assumptions? Lying? It all matters to your client's freedom, but you're operating in the dark because you don't know who those witnesses are. Why not just ask your client what happened? That might work if you were guilty. But innocent clients can't tell you what actually happens because, for the most part, they don't know. You lay out the options for the client. He could go to trial, but a judge may detain him, which means waiting in jail for months, if not years, before a judge hears the case. The idealist in you hopes that your client will fight. You think he could win. But the realist in you recognizes that if he loses, he will go to prison, potentially for decades. The other option is he could accept the plea offer. It would mean going home sooner. It's no wonder that 95% of defendants accept plea offers. It's also no wonder that so many people exonerated of crimes like manslaughter and drug offenses originally pled guilty. Your client signs the paperwork, something that you believe in your gut he did not do. The judge asks you, does either counsel know any reason that I should not accept the defendant's guilty plea? You want to shout, yes, Your Honor. This plea is the product of an extortive system, devastating lopsided access to evidence. My client faces an impossible choice. He is saying what is necessary to avoid the possibility of losing his life to prison. Instead, you reply, "No, Your Honor."
So, as we can see, this country, and when I was doing the research on this, initially, when you looked at the plea bargain, it was primarily set up for the public, not for the defendant. The public would take charge of helping a person receive some type of level of remorse. But over a period of time, the judicial system received so many type of crimes that was coming in to the point that they start making the plea bargain the main part of how they solve crime. So America makes up 5% of the world's population, yet we have 25% of the world's population locked up here in America. And most of these violent crimes that are being solved are like 95% of these crimes are plea bargain.
Mm-hmm.
You know that? Like 95%. You're like the 5% of the group that decided not to take a plea.
Yes,
Majority
sir.
of people in this country, 95% of people take the plea. Isn't that something? So if you want to be a part of this broadcast, again, I mean, we still got a little bit of time. Feel free to call in. Our number is 317-239-1310. Elijah, where do you go from here? Where do you go? I guess I'm in profit mode, so I didn't call you a double profit. Okay. So where do we go from here, man? I mean, how do we line up and fight with you, man?
Well, honestly, right now I'm trying to find a good representation. So if there's anyone out there that's listening that can help, I did start a GoFundMe. It's just simply entitled Liam's Homecoming. So if you would just check it out. Just I'm sure my family's not the only one that's going through this struggle. Because I mean, yeah, I feel it like I feel it because I'm Liam's father. But I never understand what it's like to be Liam's grandparents who can't see him. Liam's aunts, uncles, because they've ostracized them from our whole family. DCS totally took them out of our whole family. And Liam was a huge part, is a huge part of who our family is. And we treat him like that. So for them to strip him away from all of us, no. It doesn't happen that easily. We're a family of fighters. So if you guys can help, if you guys want to fight with us, please go to Liam's Homecoming. And
right. And that's great. Now, where is William being kept right now?
Liam right now is in foster care.
Wow. And he's been there for how long?
He's been there since January.
Since January. Okay. Mm-hmm. And are you able to check on his health and see how he's recovering and whatnot?
No. I tried to contact my lawyer to see. I tried to contact the lady at DCS to see, and they don't give me any information. They literally just act like they're waiting for me to go to prison. Like they're like, why don't you just go away? We already took him from you, and he's not your child, so leave him alone. No, I'm not going anywhere. I didn't fight not by myself. I had the Lord by my side, and I had Taylor as well with me, but I didn't fight without a lawyer in a very corrupt system to get Liam out of a harmful situation to hurt him and put him in a harmful situation. And if anyone has done that, if anyone has fought in Indiana, which is a horrible mother state, they have this misconception that when a baby is born, that the mother has custody. Men, check your rights. That's not the truth.
Okay.
When a baby is born, it is just as much your child as it is the woman's child until custody is established, neither one of you guys have custody.
Right. So we got another caller on line 2. Are you willing to take another caller?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead, caller on line 2. Go ahead. Hello, you on Black Power Presents. What's your comment?
Yes, sir. My comment is that I was listening to this case, and it's horrifying. Thank you for making that presentation. I think something could be done if you would continue to take this young man's information down, and let's see if we can get in with some people that could possibly help. But thank you for bringing the awareness to a flawed criminal justice system that, of course, will militate greatly against those who have not, those of a certain Deacon L and color, and those with lack of money. This is absolutely atrocious to get those kind of numbers, or when they were 95% with this plea bargain. We're just pecking them in. So thank you for sharing that today.
Hey, Pastor, this is my pastor. That's Pastor Rush. I recognize your voice. Hey, Pastor, this is a young star. I mean, this guy, he comes into our office. I don't have to worry about him. He's God-fearing. We want to wrap our arms around him. I'm going to be bringing him into our church services where we can minister to him and encourage him. He's just a bright young man that needs our support. And for the callers that may not know who we're talking with right now, and it's on the line is Dr. Lionel T. Rush, which is also my mentor and pastor. And for my Facebook viewers, Dr. Rush comes on our show and visits periodically, and we're so thankful that he has called in. So be encouraged, man. People are listening, and we're going to invite you into our prayer line. We have a prayer line that takes place every Friday from the hours to 7 to 8 that you can call in. We can continue to pray with you and continue to watch our broadcast, because actually Pastor Rush actually tags our services in so that you can be encouraged and listen to those services every Sunday, and every Wednesday or Thursday he comes on to share a wonderful Bible study every week that you can watch from the convenience of your home. Pastor, before you leave, we got a few moments. Would you be willing to give a word of prayer for this young man in this situation right on the air?
Absolutely. I do wonder, though, with even the two offers, they offer this young man 45 years to 25, and then offer kind of a co-defendant 5 years of community service and then probation or something like that. I'm just trying to figure out, did the other, did his co-defendant also have a public defender, or do they have a, it doesn't really matter, but that kind of disparity, it shows the discretion that system has in charging. And so it speaks volume. And I think that just has to be addressed. It does not matter. It doesn't matter whether it's in Hamilton County or whether that's in Marion County. With that kind of disparity, that on its face just reeks of something that's very, very wrong and very, very flawed. That somehow Lady Justice either picked up her blindfold a little bit and peeked out and saw who was on the other side of that. So that's just atrocious to me.
Yeah, Pastor. And the thing about it is, I think it was 4 years you said, right? That they offered her 4 years?
Yeah, they offered 4 years Department of Corrections, yep, and then 5 years probation. And she had a public defender as well.
Now, I looked at the record and seen that she was charged with the same thing you're charged with. How could they do that? They would have to reduce her charge or something? Because there's a minimum on F1 felony, right? That you got to do a minimum, right? So what were they going to do? Just take that charge away from her and make it something different to make those adjustments?
I don't know. They asked her if you wanted, if she agreed to play ball with them, then they would give her this deal.
So if she could collaborate some type of story against you, then she still would go down, but she would go down with a lesser charge, is what you're primarily saying, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Pastor.
She wasn't doing it.
You get away with probation. That's just, none of that makes sense. You have to find out. You have to have lawyers on this case and take real strong looks at it. But the other issue that bothers me is that I sometimes fear that case is not in isolation. If there is a pattern with this kind of disparity and this kind of disparate treatment, and that I think is what we should be looking at. Individually, it's still atrocious, but the fact that this kind of thing happens too often, and so I think that's what we should be looking at.
Yeah, and I agree with that. And Pastor, before you pray, even with this, as you was talking, I was thinking of that Innocence Project, where they get DNA and all this to prove people innocent after they've done 30 or 40 years in prison. I mean, why do we need to wait to prove somebody innocent after they have done a decade or a couple of decades worth of time? Well, we have a clear case right now that's obvious to me from what we haven't seen the discovery and all this sort of thing, but it seems as though, this man is innocent. And why aren't we rallying around people who are innocent instead of waiting till they get charged with some type of astronomical number of years to do, and then we say, oh well, we found out they were innocent after they, after the prime of their years have been taken away from them. That's the biggest concern.
Cases like this is you always find the facts. So we would surround ourselves with the right kind of legal professionalism and decorum, people that are lawyers with a certain degree of integrity and consciousness, and let them look deeply into this and then go from there, find out exactly what the cases are, so that you're never speculating, and then formulate the strategy from there. But just on the face of it, it seems to me that something is strange about the case, so it would warrant being looked into. And I think that's probably why I called. I wasn't doing the best today, but I think I called in just because I heard that part of the case. So if you would get his name and number and that sort of thing, we possibly could redirect this case and kind of see where the land lies and go from there. Because I think that always with these cases, the starting point is always the starting point. We don't, with these legal cases, you don't do a speculation. You find out exactly what's what, and then you go from there and develop strategy and see what has to be done going forward.
Yes, sir.
So with that, I will offer a prayer and let you take with the broadcast. What's my dear brother's name? Please tell me again.
His name is Elijah Mills. He's an employee here at MCC.
Okay, Elijah. Father, I just thank you, God, for this young man, Brother Elijah, for his family. I thank you, oh God, that even at this moment as he's been challenged, that he is not alone. You are here, you're with him. I thank you, oh God, for what I was hearing as an expression about this child that's involved. And so then I pray, oh Lord, for justice. The kind of justice that's not perverted. I pray, oh God, that you would come and bless and bring the resources together so that justice and truth can be had for the child involved, for these who've been charged, and across the board. I pray, oh God, for the life of those who've been affected and who has plead guilty to things because they didn't have resources. I pray, oh God, for those who are in the jail. in this fraught moment of coronavirus. And I pray, oh God, that you will look upon our nation, disrespect your power, and let justice run down like water and righteousness is the body spring. In the matchless name of Jesus Christ, I pray all these things. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you guys for helping me, but that's we can get it done. We go from there.
Yes, sir.
Have a great day, y'all.
Thank you, Pastor. God bless.
All right, bud.
All right. So, Mr. Mills, I want to encourage you, man. I know you know, on the outside, you bubbly and you got a great spirit and, just seem like you're unpenetratable, because I think you carry so much on your shoulders. And I just got to applaud you to be a young man and carry that burden. God obviously, knew that you would be able to be strong enough to carry it. I'm not going to lie. I would be probably under a bridge somewhere, reeking of some type of substance to try to block my mind out of it. But, through your faith and your perseverance and you believe it, man, it's inspiring. So, I just want you to be encouraged, man. I'm going to give you the last couple of minutes to share your heart, talk about that GoFundMe page and whatnot, and how people can really get involved to help you out.
Yes. First of all, I just want to thank anyone and everyone that took the time out to listen. I want to apologize sincerely to anyone who has to deal with it, because it's nothing easy to deal with. As if being a black man in America isn't hard enough, and then to actually be there and try to fight for your son and want to be the best father that you can be for your child. And if anyone's ever had a child, like Antonio said as well, it's on the job training. And Liam's my only child. He's a handful, but he's amazing. But it's I think I'm reaching out a lot because, first of all, for the help. I'm going to be honest. I've been isolated, and this was, I think, their purpose, to isolate me and to have everyone think of me as a certain person. But if anyone knows me, and if anyone has seen me, especially with Liam, they would know that that's not who I am. But they put like an umbrella over you, and they say, this is who you are now. And then you have to fight with everything to get it off of you. And I stay encouraged because I say it all the time, because I know who God is. And he's not limited to Hamilton County. Hamilton County doesn't trump God. God doesn't sleep, and he knows exactly what's going on. So I stay encouraged because I know that it's already done. And Liam's coming home.
Amen. Amen. So feel free to, if you want to support him in his legal cause, just go on my page and leave a explanation. Well, this has been another broadcast, and I've been your host, Antonio Lipscomb, Black Power Presents. And feel free to tune in every week from 6 to 7, and we will continue to have a conversation like this to affect the Black community. All right. Well, you all have a wonderful day, and thank you, Mr. Elijah Mills, for coming on our show, sharing your heart. Your best is to
thank you for having me.
Your family, and we will continue to have this dialogue. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, have a good one. Okay.
You too.
Okay.